Good afternoon, dear children. Last class we have finished the lesson actually motion in a plane. I think all of you completed the notes in that lesson. If those who are not completed, try to finish fast. Okay, we can start the new lesson. Next, laws of motion. Listen to it. Actually, some portions are actually deleted from this lesson. First of all, I tell the portions. Okay, that are deleted actually. The concept of force, then inertia, then Newton's first law, second law and third law, then impulse and momentum. Actually, these are the deleted portions. Isn't it? But all these things actually have learned in 9th standard. Okay, and actually some concepts of Newton's second law and third law that will come in our derivation, some derivations. Okay, that time I will explain the two things, the two laws. Okay, then first we can start with the law of conservation of linear momentum. Law of conservation of linear momentum. Okay, but before going to this law, you should know about momentum. Okay, this also you have learned in 9th standard. Momentum or linear momentum. Actually, you heard about this term momentum. Okay, then what is momentum actually? It is the quantity of motion possessed by an object. That is actually the momentum. Okay, the quantity of motion possessed by an object, that is called the momentum. Then how we can measure momentum? Actually, momentum can be measured as the product of mass and velocity. Okay, momentum can be measured as the product of mass and velocity. Listen to it. Momentum can be measured as the product of mass and velocity. So, momentum actually it is represented by P. Momentum P is equal to M into V. This is the equation for momentum. Okay, momentum P is equal to mass into velocity. Momentum is represented by P, that is equal to M into V. Listen to it. That is the mathematical relation for momentum. P is equal to M into V. Actually, momentum is a vector quantity because it has both magnitude and direction. So, momentum is a vector quantity. So, what is the unit of momentum? You know the unit of mass, kilogram, and the velocity as meter per second. So, the unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. Kilogram meter per second is the unit of momentum. Listen to it. What is the unit of momentum? Kilogram meter per second. That is actually about momentum. Momentum can be measured as the product of mass and velocity. That is, momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Actually, it is represented by letter P. So, P is equal to M into V. And here the momentum is a vector quantity and its unit is kilogram meters per second. Kilogram meter per second. Okay. Next, we can go to this law, that is law of conservation of linear momentum. Law of conservation of linear momentum. Okay, actually according to this law, suppose if we are consider a system, okay, if you consider a system and it consists of many particles of masses m1, m2, m3, etc. up to mn. Okay, suppose if a system consists of several particles of masses m1, m2, m3, etc. up to mn, and it moves with the velocities v1, v2, v3, etc. up to vn. Okay, and if we are not applying any external force to this system, its total linear momentum remains a constant. Okay, that is the total linear momentum is conserved. That is actually law of conservation of linear momentum. According to this law, when no external force acts on a system of several interacting particles, the total linear momentum of the system is conserved. Listen to it. Suppose if we have a system of several interacting particles and if you are not applying any external force to this system, then its total linear momentum is conserved. Its total linear, that is the total linear momentum of the system is conserved. That is actually The law of conservation of linear momentum. Listen to it. When no external force acts on a system of several particles or several interacting particles, the total linear momentum of the system is conserved. Okay, when no external force acts on a system of several interacting particles, the total linear momentum of the system is conserved. Okay, here we are considering a system of several particles of masses m1, m2, m3, etc. up to mn, and it moves with the velocities v1, v2, v3, etc. up to vn. Then is total linear momentum, you know, the total linear momentum. Okay, how we can represent? For the first particle, what is its momentum? First particle, its mass is m1 and it moves with the velocity v1. So what is its momentum? m1, v1. Similarly, for the second particle, its linear momentum is m2, v2. And for the nth particle, it is mn, vn. Then how we can represent the total linear momentum of this system? Actually, it is m1, v1 plus m2, v2 plus etc. up to mn, vn. Listen to it. Its total linear momentum P is equal to m1, v1 plus m2, v2 plus etc. up to mn, vn. Then this can be written as P is equal to, instead of m1, v1, actually it is p1 plus p2 plus etc. up to pn. Okay. Actually, this is the linear momentum of first particle, P1. P2 represents the linear momentum of the second particle. And Pn represents the linear momentum of the nth particle. Isn't it? And next we are assuming that we are applying an external force. Okay, if F is the external force acts on the system, then by Newton's second law, actually the Newton's second law is the rate of change of momentum that is proportional to the unbalanced force. That is actually the Newton's second law. I think already learned in 9th standard. According to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum. Okay, rate of change of momentum is change of momentum with the time. Okay, change in momentum with the time. That is proportional to the force. That is actually Newton's second law. Okay, the rate of change of momentum, that is change of momentum with the time. Okay, the change in momentum with the time, that is actually rate of change in momentum, that is proportional to the external unbalanced force. That is proportional to the external unbalanced force. That is actually the Newton's second law. Listen to it. And here we are assuming that if F is the external force acts on the system, then by Newton's second law, this F can be written as dP by dt. This is actually the rate of change in momentum is represented by dP by dt. Okay, that is F is equal to what? dP by dt. Listen to it. dP by dt. F is equal to dP by dt. And here we are assuming that here the system is an isolated system. Okay, here the system is an isolated system. Isolated system means it is free from external force. Suppose if there is no force acts on a system, then that system is called the isolated system. Listen to it. If there is no external force acts on a system, that system can be considered as isolated system. Here we are assuming that it is an isolated system. Then what is the force acting on that system? F equal to 0. F equal to 0. Okay. And in this equation, F equal to 0 means what? dP by dt is equal to 0. dP by dt is equal to what? 0. Okay. dP by dt is equal to actually 0. What is mean by actually dP by dt is equal to 0? You know, the derivative of a constant is always 0. Okay, the derivative of a constant is actually 0. Okay, if a derivative of variable has a value and the derivative of constant is always 0. Here we got the derivative of p is 0. Okay, dP by dt is, what does this means actually? dP by dt. Change in momentum with the time. Change in momentum with the time. Okay, here we got dP by dt is equal to 0. You know, the derivative of a constant is 0. So here P must be a constant. P must be a constant. So we can write P is equal to a constant, or we can write P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus etc. up to Pn equal to a constant. Okay, this is actually the law of conservation of linear momentum. That is, when no external force acts on a system of several particles or several interacting particles, the total linear momentum is always conserved or remains constant. Listen to it. That is actually law of conservation of linear momentum. According to law of conservation of linear momentum, if no external force acts on a several particles acts on a system of several interacting particles, its total linear momentum is conserved. Its total linear momentum is conserved. Here we are considering an isolated system of n particles. Here we are considering an isolated system of n particles of masses m1, m2, m3, etc. up to mn and moves the velocities v1, v2, v3, etc. up to vn. Then the total linear momentum of the system can be represented as P is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus etc. up to mn vn. And instead of m1 v1 we can write p1. So p1 plus p2 plus etc. up to pn. Okay. Then by Newton's second law, if F is the force acts on a system, then the force F equal to dp by dt. The force F is equal to dp by dt. Then here actually we considered it as an isolated system. That means it is free from external force. That is, there is no external force acts on this system. So we can write F equal to 0. So when F equal to 0, what is actually dp by dt? It is 0. dp by dt is equal to 0. You know the derivative of a constant is 0. The derivative of a constant is 0. So P must be a constant. Okay, here actually we got the derivative of P is 0. So P is a constant. Okay, so we can write P1 plus P2 plus P3 etc. up to Pn equal to constant. That is, according to law of conservation of linear momentum, when no external force acts on a system of several particles, the total linear momentum of the system is conserved. Okay, here we proved the law of conservation of linear momentum with the help of Newton's second law. Okay, here actually we proved the law of conservation of linear momentum on the basis of Newton's second law. Next we can prove this law of conservation of linear momentum on the basis of Newton's third law. Okay. Next we can prove the law of conservation of momentum based on Newton's third law. Okay, we can prove the law of conservation of linear momentum on the basis of Newton's third law of motion. You know what is Newton's third law? To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This is actually Newton's third law of motion. Here we are considering two objects A and B. Here A exerts a force on B. At the same time, B also exerts equal and opposite force upon B. Okay. Actually, one of the force is called the action and the second force is called the reaction. Okay, here one of the force is called the action and the second force is called the reaction. Here for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So we can represent the Newton's third law as FAB is equal to FBA. FAB is equal to what? FBA. Isn't it? FAB is equal to FBA. Here FAB can be taken as action and here FBA can be taken as reaction. That is, according to Newton's third law, to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. The next we can prove this law of conservation of momentum based on this Newton's third law. Okay, for that we are considering two objects A and B having masses m1 and m2. Here we are considering two objects A and B of masses m1 and m2. Let u1 be the initial velocity of A and u2 be the velocity of B, object B. Here we are assuming that both objects travels along a straight line with velocity u1 greater than u2. With velocity u1 greater than u2. Then what happens after some time? The object A that hits on object B. Okay, actually this is before collision. Before collision. Okay, and actually this is during collision. Isn't it? Actually this is during collision. Here the object A moves with a velocity greater than object B. So after some time A hits on B. Actually this is actually called collision. The hitting of objects, that is called what? Collision. Okay. So then after collision, A moved with velocity v1 and B moved with velocity v2. Okay, here we are considering two objects A and B of masses m1 and m2. Then A moved with velocity u1 and B moved with velocity u2. Okay, then after here we are assuming that both the objects travels along a straight line with a velocity u1 greater than u2. Then after collision, A moved with velocity v1 and B moved with velocity v2. Isn't it? Then we can write the momentum of object A before collision. You know the equation for momentum is P is equal to m into v. Here for object A, its mass is m1 and it moved velocity u1. So its momentum is m1 u1. Its momentum is m1 u1. And when we consider the object B, its mass is m2 and its moves velocity u2. So its momentum is m2 u2. Isn't it? Then after collision, A moved velocity v1. So its momentum is m1 v1. Then B moves velocity v2. So its momentum is m2 v2. Isn't it? Then we can write the rate of change of momentum of A. When we consider the object A, then what is its final momentum? When we consider object A, its final momentum is m1 v1 and its initial momentum is m1 u1. Okay, so what is the change in momentum actually? m1 v1 minus m1 u1. Actually this is the change in momentum. Final momentum minus initial momentum. m1 v1 minus m1 u1. Listen it. Then what is the rate of change of momentum? Change in momentum divided by time. Change in momentum divided by time, that is the rate of change of momentum. So we can write m1 v1 minus m1 u1 divided by t. Isn't it? And by Newton's second law, you know the rate of change of momentum is equal to the force. Okay, so FAB. The force on object A is actually FAB. So the rate of change of momentum of object A is equal to the force on object A. So we can write m1 v1 minus m1 u1 divided by t is equal to FAB. Similarly, the rate of change of momentum of object B can be written as m2 v2 minus m2 u2 divided by t. Listen it, m2, when we consider the object B, its final momentum is m2 v2 and initial momentum is m2 u2. So what is change in momentum? m2 v2 minus m2 u2. Then what is rate of change in momentum? Change in momentum divided by time. So m2 v2 minus m2 u2 divided by t. That is the rate of change of momentum of B. Actually which is equal to the force on object B. So we can write this equal to FBA. m2 v2 minus m2 u2 divided by t. That is equal to FBA. Listen it, that is by Newton's second law. Okay, listen it. Then by Newton's third law, we can write, what is Newton's third law? To every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So FAB is equal to minus FBA. That is force on A is equal to equal and opposite to force on B. Force on A, object A is equal and opposite to force on object B. So we can write FAB is equal to minus FBA. Then substitute for FAB is actually what this one. M1 V1 minus M1 U1 divided by T. That is equal to minus of FBA. That is FBA. M2 V2 minus M2 U2 divided by T. Isn't it? And this T cancel and the remaining is M1 V1 minus M1 U1 is equal to minus, taking minus inside, so minus M2 V2 minus into minus plus M2 U2. Listen it. Then we can write this M1 V1 is here. Then this M2 V2 minus M2 V2 will then come to this LHS, it becomes plus M2 V2. So here it is actually M1 V1 plus M2 V2, that is equal to, here we have this minus M1 U1 that goes on RHS, it becomes M1U1 plus M2U2. Okay, then what is M1V1 plus M2V2 is actually total momentum of two objects after collision. After collision, first object momentum is M1V1 and second is M2V2. So here we got M1V1 plus M2V2. Actually, it is total momentum after collision. And here it is total M1U1 plus M2U2 is actually total momentum before collision. So its total momentum remains conserved. Isn't it here? Total momentum after collision is equal to total momentum before collision. Thus we proved this law of conservation of momentum based on Newton's third law. Listen it. Here we are considering two objects A and B having masses m1 and m2 that moves with velocities u1 and u2. And here we are assuming that both objects moves along a straight line with velocity u1 greater than u2. Then after collision, the two objects move with velocities v1 and v2. Isn't it? Then we can write the momentum of each objects. A, before collision, its momentum is m1 u1. Then for before collision object B, its momentum is m2 u2. Then after collision, when we consider object A, its momentum is m1 v1. And when we consider object B, its momentum after collision is m2 v2. Then we can write the rate of change of momentum of object A. Actually, it is m1 v1 minus m1 u1 divided by t. Okay, then by Newton's second law, this rate of change of momentum is equal to the force on object A. Similarly, we can write the rate of change of momentum of object B. Actually, it is m2v2 minus m2u2 by t, which is equal to the force on object B, FBA. Also, by Newton's third law, FAB is equal to minus FBA. FAB is equal to minus FBA. To every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Then substitute for FAB is actually it is m1 v1 minus m1 u1 divided by t is equal to minus of FBA is actually m2 v2 minus m2 u2 divided by t. Then t cancels and remaining m1 v1 minus m1 u1 is equal to minus of m2 v2 plus m2 u2. This can be rearranged as m1 v1 plus m2 v2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. This is actually total momentum of two objects after collision. Actually, this expression indicates the total momentum of the two objects before collision. Actually, these two are equal. Also, we can say the total momentum of two objects is conserved during collision. This is actually the law of conservation of linear momentum based on Newton's third law. Okay. Next, we can see an important application of law of conservation of linear momentum. That is the recoil of gun. Okay, recoil of gun. Suppose a bullet is fired from a gun. Actually, the bullet moves forward. Isn't it? At the same time, by Newton's third law, the bullet applies an equal and opposite force on the gun. Okay, that is why the gun moves backward with a very small velocity. Okay, and that velocity is called recoil velocity, and the backward movement of gun is called the recoil of gun. Isn't it? When a bullet is fired from a gun, the bullet moves forward. Okay, at the same time, the bullet applies an equal and opposite force on the gun. That is why the gun moves backward with a very small velocity. Okay, this backward movement of gun is called the recoil of gun, and the velocity with which the gun moves backward, that is called the recoil velocity. Next, we can find an expression for recoil velocity. For that, we are considering the mass of the gun is actually represented by small m, and the recoil velocity or the velocity of the gun, that is represented by capital V. And the mass of bullet is taken as small m, and the velocity of bullet is taken as small v. Isn't it? Like capital M, that represents the mass of gun, and the velocity of the gun is capital V. And then the small m, that represents the mass of bullet, and small v, that represents the velocity of the bullet. You know, according to a conservation of linear momentum, total momentum of the bullet, the total momentum before firing, that is equal to the total momentum after firing. Listen to it, the total momentum before firing is equal to the total momentum after firing. Here before firing, both the bullet and gun are at rest. Then what about its momentum? It is 0. So the total momentum before firing is actually 0. That is equal to the momentum of the bullet. You know, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So the momentum of the bullet is m into v. So mv plus, then the momentum of gun, that is actually capital M into capital V. So actually 0 is equal to mv plus mv, and this thing can be written as capital M into V, that is equal to minus mv, and from this V is equal to mv divided by capital M. Listen to it. Actually this equation is actually represents the recoil velocity. Then what is the expression for recoil velocity? M by M into V. Okay, where small m represents the mass of bullet, capital M represents the mass of gun, and V that represents the velocity of bullet. Listen to it. That is actually the expression for recoil velocity. What is meant by recoiling of gun? When a bullet is fired from a gun, the bullet moves forward. At the same time, the bullet applies an equal and opposite force on the gun. And due to this, the gun moves backward with a very small velocity, that is called recoil velocity, and the backward movement of gun is called the recoil of gun. Next, we have to find an expression for recoil velocity. For that, we are considering the mass of gun is m, and that its velocity of gun is capital V. Then the mass of bullet is represented as small m, and its velocity is small b. Then by applying law of conservation of linear momentum, total momentum before firing is equal to total momentum after firing. Okay, then before firing, both the bullet and gun are at rest, so its momentum is 0. So 0 is equal to then m into after firing. Let V represents the velocity of bullet, so its momentum is m into V plus this is actually the momentum of gun, capital M into capital V. From this we can write mv is equal to minus mv. From this the recoil velocity V is equal to minus m by m into V. Actually this is an expression for recoil velocity. Okay. Next about equilibrium of concurrent forces. Equilibrium of concurrent forces. Then what do you mean by concurrent forces? Actually the forces acting at the same point of a body are called concurrent forces. Suppose if all the forces are acting at the same point of a body, that is called the concurrent forces. What do you mean by concurrent forces? If all the forces are acting at the same point on a body are said to be concurrent forces. Okay, and next we have to discuss about the equilibrium of concurrent forces. What is the condition for the concurrent forces to be at equilibrium? Okay, that condition only we have to going to discuss. Okay, you know, here consider three concurrent forces F1, F2 and F3. Here F1, F2 and F3 are three concurrent forces acting at the same point O of a body. Here the three forces F1, F2 and F3, they are acting at the same point of a body. So these three forces are actually concurrent forces. Then by parallelogram law of vector addition, we can find the resultant of F1 and F2. That is, resultant of F1 and F2 is actually F1 plus F2. That is given by the diagonal of this parallelogram. Okay, here the resultant of the two forces F1 and F2 is actually represented by the diagonal of the parallelogram, that is actually F1 plus F2. Okay, next suppose if there is a third force that acts on this body, here F3, that is the third force that acts on the body such that F3 must be equal to minus of F1 plus F2. Okay, suppose if there is a third force F3 that acts on the body at the same point, this force must be, the force must be such that actually F3 is equal to minus F1 plus F2, or we can write F1 plus F2 plus F3, that is equal to 0. Okay, F1 plus F2 plus F3 must be equal to 0. Actually, this is the condition for equilibrium of concurrent forces. Listen to it. When a number of forces act on a body at the same point, if a number of forces act on a body at the same point and the net unbalanced force is 0, and the net unbalanced force is 0. That is why we got here F1 plus F2 plus F3 equal to 0. Here all these forces are acting on the same point and the net unbalanced force is 0. Then the body continue to be in the state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line is said to be in equilibrium. Suppose if the body is remain at rest or if it is in uniform motion along a straight line, then we can say these forces are in equilibrium. Listen to it. When the number of forces act on a body at the same point and the net unbalanced force is 0, the body will continue to be in the state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line and is said to be in equilibrium. If all these conditions are satisfied, then the forces are said to be in equilibrium. You know, actually unbalanced force, balanced and unbalanced force. Unbalanced force is actually which can change the state of rest or uniform motion. Okay, but balanced force cannot change the state of rest or uniform motion. Here actually the unbalanced force is 0. So the body remains in the state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line. Listen to it. When the number of forces acting on a body are at the same point and the net unbalanced force is 0, the body will continue to be in the state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line and is said to be in equilibrium. Okay. Here we have three forces F1, F2 and F3 that acts at the point O of a body. Then by parallelogram law of vector addition we can find the resultant of F1 and F2 as the diagonal of the parallelogram and it is actually F1 plus F2. Listen to it. And next we are assuming that if there is a third force F that acts on the body such that F3 is equal to minus of F1 plus F2, or we can say F1 plus F2 plus F3 equal to 0. Okay, when the number of forces act on a body at the same point and the net unbalanced force is 0, the body will continue to be in the state of rest or uniform motion along a straight line and it's said to be in equilibrium. That is about the equilibrium of concurrent forces. Okay. Okay children, today's class we have learned about the law of conservation of momentum. What is law of conservation of momentum? For an isolated system or if there is no external force acts on a system of several interacting particles, its total linear momentum remains a constant. That is actually the law of conservation of linear momentum, and we have derived the law of conservation of linear momentum on the basis of Newton's second law of motion and also the Newton's third law of motion. And also we have learned the important application of law of conservation of linear momentum, that is actually the recoil of gun. Okay, the next we came to the equilibrium of concurrent forces. Okay, that is the end of today's class. Thank you children.